A day is coming when all nations will be judged right here where we're standing in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, every nation, for how they treated Israel.
Welcome to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Traditionally, this valley we can see right behind me, this wide valley within the Kidron Valley, is the valley traditionally mentioned in the prophecies. The book of Joel, chapter 3, mentions the following. I'd like to read it out.
In this valley within a valley, where we are right now, within the Kidron.
The book of Joel, chapter 3 says, "In those days and at that time, when I restore the fortunes of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations together and bring them down to the Valley of Jehoshaphat. There I will put them on trial for what they did to my inheritance, my people Israel, because they scattered my people among the nations and divided up my land." Wow.
Wow, Jamie, so what the book of Joel is saying, what God Almighty is saying through the prophet Joel, is that a day is coming when all nations will be judged right here where we're standing in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, every nation, for how they treated Israel. I'd say that Israel is a pretty big deal in God's economy,
Yes.
judging by that verse.
Yes, sir. According to the faith, we know that the dead will arise from their tombs.
Here.
And look where we are. We are in the middle of a Jewish cemetery, round about or down where the valley is, the Valley of Jehoshaphat. We can
That's right.
see a number of tombs where Christians are buried, and up on the eastern slopes of Temple Mount, you can see another burial site, another cemetery where Muslims are buried. When the Messiah comes, there's going to be the resurrection of the dead. They will rise and they will be judged. We will all be judged according to the book of Joel here in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Jehoshaphat in Hebrew, Yehoshaphat, means God will judge.
Wow. And now the Messiah, when he comes, will come through the Golden Gate.
Traditionally, he will walk through the Golden Gate, which is right up over there where we can see the eastern wall of Temple Mount, built, erected 2,000 years ago by King Herod. That was the eastern entrance to the temple, built up over there, sealed in the mid-1500s by Sultan Suleiman
Of the Ottoman Empire.
the Ottoman Empire.
So we're in the midst of the tombs on the Mount of Olives, the Golden Gate, the Temple Mount, the Valley of Jehoshaphat. This is like Bible prophecy come to life where we're standing right now. And there is another Jesus connection here. We're in the shadow of the Garden of Gethsemane. Jamie, tell us more.
So right behind us is the iconic church of the Garden of Gethsemane. Traditionally, that is where Jesus went to after the Last Supper with his disciples to pray, to mourn his destiny. And as we read in the Bible, we read that he leaves 3 of his disciples far away from him, and he weeps on a rock and asks his Father to take away the cup of the agony. And he's in deep agony. That's one of the only times we read about Jesus's human nature, when he goes into grief and agony. That's why that church over there, erected here in the early 1900s, is called the Church of the Agony, the Church of all nations. People will come to Jerusalem buried on this mountain, Mount of Olives, expecting and waiting for the coming of the Messiah.
People want to be buried right here so that when the Messiah comes, they'd be the first to rise with him and enter the Golden Gate.
Front stage, sir.
Yeah,
This is it.